harassment in the workplace in Malaysia, as in many other countries, involve unwelcome of a sexual nature that creates a hostile, intimidating, or offensive work environment. This can include verbal, non-verbal, or physical behavior, such as comments, jokes, gestures, or advances of a sexual nature. In Malaysia, the legal framework addressing sexual harassment includes the Employment Act 1955 and the Malaysian Penal Code. Victims of sexual harassment in the workplace in Malaysia are encouraged to report such incidents to their employers or the relevant authorities for necessary action, which may include disciplinary measures against the perpetrator.
Next, I'm going to present regarding what factors contribute to sexual harassment in the workplace. An article was published on the malaysialawyer.com on March 17, 2023 by Marcus Van Kazel. The post dealt with an employee who was fired because it was considered unfair due to improper procedures following a sexual harassment allegation. Despite improvement, the research notes that Malaysian companies still don't know how to deal with sexual harassment claims. Workplace sexual harassment gets worse by ineffective reporting procedures. Harassment in the workplace is not more frequently reported when it is unclear. Victims are at a loss as how to report inappropriate behavior due to the lack of defined reporting procedures. Feelings of powerless and alone might make those who are uncertain about speaking up. Victims feel more comfortable coming forward, and the company commitments about the issue can be seen by having well-defined procedure for reporting harassment. The Institute of Journalists in Malaysia revealed in Malaysia Kini on December 18, 2018 that many media workers are sexually harassed. The Institute of Journalists Malaysia began initial interview with media members who has been sexually assaulted at work in August 2018. Every workplace has supervisor-employee power imbalance. Sexual harassment survivors struggle to report due to the guilt and stigma. Several interviewees indicated their workplace supported this form of harassment according to the article. This is obvious in a way sexual harassment is addressed, even where reported including sexually excluding observation and unwelcome sexual approach that might be passed off as a joke. Interviewee reported management and HR brush off her arguing about rape jokes from a co-worker. Sexual harassment and other workplace harassment are underreported due to social standards. Several cultures discourage on discussing on sex or harassment. This affects victims and makes them afraid to speak up for fear of judgment or blame. Removing this stigma will change the culture. Encourage harassment discussion, discourage victim blaming, and establish a safe space for victims. Malaysia's sexual harassment policy was questioned in August 2019 in website ASEAN Post. The article claims that Malaysia women still face gender inequity, a system of the practical society. As 2020 approached, according to a women aid organisation poll, most Malaysian women have experienced workplace sexual harassment. About 62% of 1,010 women surveyed reported workplace sexual harassment. The survey also found that 56% of women face workplace discrimination. Gender imbalance in the workplace encourages harassment, especially against women. Inequality between men and women increases harassment and makes victims feel helpless because they may assume speaking up will harm their chances of success or reinforce biases. Promote equal opportunities, close pay gaps, and ensure women and men have equal leadership representation to fight gender inequality and makes the workplace a place where harassment is uncommon and everyone feels respected and empowered. On 7 May 2023, Malay Mail reported that author Muhammad Yusri stated that calling co-workers sayang or dear and sexting are types of workplace sexual harassment. When explaining why terms like darling, baby and dear are inappropriate or could lead to sexual harassment at work, highlight how they influence others' comfort and professionalism. Avoiding this term can make the workplace more friendly and respectful, encouraging everyone to work without feeling uncomfortable or having to deal with unpleasant or improper behavior. Negative words can make people feel uncomfortable or uneasy, making the environment seem unfriendly or uncomfortable. If such illegal behavior is found, a civil servant may be disciplined under Regulation 4A of the Public Official Rules, Behavior and the Subject. 1993.
It may be challenging to move the issue of sexual harassment forward, but it is crucial. It should be handled on with care and consistency because over 36% of Malaysian women compared to 70% of males have been disclosed with similar situation and have left an unfavorable impression on themselves. This issue will have far-reaching effects, particularly in the workplace. Inappropriate sexual touch, remarks or behaviors that produce discomfort, fear or a hostile environment are all examples of sexual harassment. The impacts can be far-reaching, extending far beyond the incident itself. Victims frequently experience mental distress, worry, and furthermore, insufficient reporting procedures could easily trigger sexual harassment. Mostly, when observed from a variety of positive and negative perspectives, there are a few employers who do not take the initiative regarding inappropriate conduct of their own employees. As a result of this sexual influence, the victim will have tremendous emotional stress as a result of not being able to disclose the truth, which can lead to depression and most extremely suicide. Sexual harassment should not be triggered by cultural taboos. This corresponds to because as citizens living alongside one another in a fast-evolving government, normalization between races is unnecessary because it will only harm the reputation of the same race. There is no restriction that this bad thing will happen to anyone, but if we all come together to prevent it, we will be able to reduce the burden that the victim face in stage. And those who are persecuted will feel pleased because they are protected by an empathetic and aware community. There is also speculation that sexual harassment is becoming more prevalent as a result of gender inequality, particularly among women. When this occurs, many female workers experience discrimination due to a variety of issues that prevent them from performing the desired labor. However, from a different perspective, employers have to split responsibilities appropriately based on their respective position and abilities. Due to the occurrence of such situation, there are too many bad rumors that are going to flip to the victim sides while speaking up. When women's ability to come forward and speak out against crimes committed against them is limited, it has a major effect on victims' ability to build a better life because their chance of starting their life again are not on their side. As a result, individuals will suffer from a variety of illness, including mental disorders and a lack of productivity. By calling employees with undesirable call is considered as sexual harassment constantly fails to acknowledge that can lead to the crime of sexual harassment. Minor incidents involving this drive us impulsive because we think it's simply an insignificant incident because it's just an entertaining conversation, but from the perspective of law, calling a college with this kind of call will be subject to disciplinary action, Rule 4A Rules Public Officers Conduct and Discipline 1993.
Next, I will continue with data and statistics. The research conducted by West AI in collaboration with the Women's Aid Organization investigate the working condition of Malaysian women, focusing on challenges and awareness of workplace harassment and discrimination. The respondents aged 24 to 55 were chosen using quota sampling based on census data on race, locality, and gender. The study reveals that the Bumiputra Malay demographic had the highest response rate, 60%, followed by Chinese 24%, Bumiputra non-Malay 7%, Indian 7%, and others 3%. Most responses came from those aged 24 to 29, 34%, while the 45 to 55 age group has the smallest proportion, 11%. Concerning sexual harassment, 71% of women acknowledge its existence, with 21% having personal experience. Considering its severe problem, only 2% are uninformed. Notably, 52% do not consider suggesting sexual approaches towards a customer as sexual harassment. Additionally, 50% think unwanted touching should be labelled as unprofessional behavior rather than sexual harassment. Half of the participants do not consider further efforts after rejection as sexual harassment, but rather as unprofessional conduct. Regarding stalking, 42% do not perceive it as sexual harassment. but view it as inappropriate behavior. 39% of employees report experiencing sexual jokes or rumors at work. In job interviews, 47% were asked about marital status and 22% were questioned about gender-related job capacities. A separate HRM Asia article by Josephine Tan on 31st October 2023 note 477 documented cases of sexual harassment in 2022, a decrease from 506 in 2021. Most victims were females. The researcher acknowledged underreporting, suggesting actual incidents might be higher than official figures indicate.
Now let's move on to the existing solution. One of the existing solution is to establish efficient education programs that teach people what harassment is, how it affects human beings, and how to report it. According to the Star article written on Friday 7 July 2023, according to its minister, Datuk Sri Nancy Sukri, the program was also organized to raise community awareness of the anti-sexual harassment advocacy program and to provide exposure and information about the ministry's psychosocial services and help. Now we move on to the next solution, which is the new solution. Based on the article posted by freemalaysiatoday.com on 27 October 2020, author Aina Aiman quoted that the Separate Sexual Harassment Act must be passed in order to address all forms of sexual harassment, including those involving employees who are not covered by the Employment Act, such as interns, volunteers, and clients. According to Danda Banti, this is despite the Human Resources Ministry's proposal to include additional protection against sexual harassment in the Act, including the requirement for employers to have a sexual harassment policy. In a nutshell, on August 11, 2022, the Dewan Negara passed the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act 2022 Act. A few of the Act's provisions went into force on March 28, 2023, and it is expected that the remaining provisions would follow suit in phases. Now, let's analyze based on the existing solution and new solution. Firstly, to establish efficient education programs that teach people what harassment is, how it affects human beings, and how to report it. The advantages of it is enhanced consciousness educational initiatives assist people identify and comprehend what constitutes unacceptable behavior by increasing awareness of the various types of harassment. The disadvantages is the short-term impact. Education programs may have a more significant impact in the short term, but sustaining long-term behavioral change requires ongoing efforts and reinforcement. Secondly, companies, non-governmental organizations, NGOs, and government agencies to join forces on community-wide campaigns. The advantages is policy advocacy. Joint efforts provide a platform for advocating policy changes and improvements. By aligning with government agencies, there is an opportunity to influence or create policies that address sexual harassment more effectively and comprehensively. The disadvantages is the potential for institution. The involvement of multiple stakeholders may lead to the dilution of the campaign message. Different organizations may have varied priorities or interpretations of the issue, resulting in a less coherent or impactful message. Thirdly, establishing robust rules to safeguard whistleblowers. The advantages is the early detection and prevention. A strong whistleblower protection framework facilitates early detection of sexual harassment cases. This enables organizations to intervene promptly, preventing the escalation of the issue and addressing it as its roots. The disadvantages is the difficulty in proving retaliation. Even with whistleblower protection in place, it may be challenging for individuals to prove retaliation if it occurs. This can undermine the effectiveness of the protection measures and rebuttal.
The advantages of including additional protection against sexual harassment in the Act, including the requirement for employers to have a sexual harassment policy. Legal compliance. Legal compliance is ensured by requiring employers to have a policy regarding sexual harassment. In compliance with current laws and regulations, it establishes clear expectations for companies regarding how to handle and prevent sexual harassment.
Next is prevention and awareness. Employer must aggressively handle sexual harassment by promoting a culture of prevention and awareness in accordance with the sexual harassment policy. Organizations can assist prevent harassment events by defining what constitutes harassment and the repercussion for such behavior. Employee empowerment. By educating staff members about their rights and reporting options, a well-communicated sexual harassment policy empowers workers, knowing that there are established processes for resolving their issues can help victims to come forward and report instances. The disadvantages are opposition and reaction. Some workers or employers will object to the adoption of a sexual harassment policy because they think it is overbearing or unnecessary. The organization's cultural norms or a lack of awareness of the significance of such rules may be the source of resistance. Next is possibility of inconsistency. Different organizations' approaches to sexual harassment policies may differ if there isn't a common template or set guidelines. This disarray may cause misunderstandings among staff members and make it challenging to compare best practices. The advantage of established system for anonymous reporting in order to safeguard the identity of informants are increased reporting rates. Anonymous reporting system provide a secure and confidential channel for individuals to report incidents of sexual harassment without fear of retaliation. This increased sense of safety encourages more people to come forward and report misconduct. Next is protection against retaliation. Anonymity safeguards individuals from potential retaliation, which can be a significant concern when reporting sexual harassment. This protection encourages witnesses to step forward, contributing to a culture of openness and accountability. Confidentiality and privacy. Protecting the identity of informers ensure their privacy, fostering a sense of security. This confidentiality is essential for individuals who may be hesitant to report due to concerns about personal or professional reputation. Proactive problem resolution. With anonymous reporting, organizations can address potential issues proactively, leading to quicker resolutions and a more efficient process for handling cases of sexual harassment. The disadvantages of established systems for anonymous reporting in order to safeguard the integrity of informants. Possibility are fraudulent reports. Since people may use anonymity to further their personal agendas or bench grudges, there is a greater chance that malevolent or fraudulent reports may be made. This might result in the loss of resources and harm to innocent people. Next is limited capacity for investigation. It is difficult to follow up with informants to get more information or clarity while they remain anonymous. The absence of direct connection between the investigator and the reporter could impede investigative efforts. Last is lack of context. Information reported may be devoid or importance effects for context if it is not possible to have a conversation with the informant. Because of this, it could be more challenging for investigators to comprehend and resolve the matter completely. The issue of sexual harassment significantly affects employee well-being and productivity. Today, we will explore strategies to create a safe and respectful workplace. Our first step is the development of a robust sexual harassment policy. This policy defines what constitutes sexual harassment and outlines consequences for engaging in such behavior. In cases of sexual harassment, maintaining a confidential record is crucial. Detailed documentation includes dates, time, location, individuals involved, and a thorough account of inappropriate behavior. This serves as crucial evidence when reporting and establishes a pattern of misconduct. Employees need to understand that sexual harassment can manifest in various forms: unwanted advances, explicit comments, derogatory jokes, or any behavior indicating a hostile work environment. Familiarity with your workplace policy definition is key for accurate identification and reporting. Confidentiality during the reporting process is vital, but transparency with HR is equally important. HR typically initiates investigation for prompt resolution. Depending on severity, consequences for the harasser may include an official warning, sensitivity training, or termination. Maintaining a fair and consistent approach is crucial. The involvement of management is essential. The CEO and board must demonstrate a zero-tolerance approach to harassment. Equal punishment for harassment regardless of employee status is the key. Preventing sexual harassment requires a comprehensive approach. This involves policy development, employee training, proper reporting procedures, bystander training, taking every complaint seriously and ensuring confidential reporting channels. In conclusion, creating a safe and harassment-free workplace is achievable through strategic policies, employee training, proper reporting mechanism, and leadership commitment. By taking these steps, employees contribute to a respectful and inclusive work environment for all.